As I noticed and pointed out that there's a tendency that you can easily slide back into your first position, we talked maybe it could be interesting for you as an extra step to have a little exercise around cleaning perceptual positions. I didn't give you a background. I'm actually coming from a family-owned business, which is in the cleaning business, and which I left about 8 years ago. And I tend to tell my clients when I do coaching that I'm still in the same industry. It's a lot about cleaning what we do. It's a lot about sorting things and putting them into the right places. So I think I'm still in the same business. I used to clean floors or supervise people to do that. And now I switched into more of the emotional and psychological cleaning spaces, so to speak. And I guess that's why this idea of perceptual position cleaning came to my mind as we spoke. You probably have already done perceptual positions, so you're already introduced to that. You know the first and the second and the third position, right? Already done that. Okay, great. And you probably also have done submodalities. You know about different images, if they're black or if they're colorful, if they're still, if they're moving further away. So the cleaning of perceptual position, this idea is connecting those two elements together. And it's a nice way for yourself to make sure that the first position stays in the first position. When you step into somebody else's shoes, that you're really into a second position and you're stepping out of yourself. So having that clear space. And when you're in the third position, which would be a position of I can see myself over there and I can see also over there the other person, and it's a balance how I can see both of them at the same time and how they're interacting. So I have a nice overview of the interaction. There's actually also a fourth position. Have you already introduced the fourth position?
In passing, we've mentioned it, yeah.
Okay, so this is the third position, which is you are outside of the conversation, you're observing, and so you can really notice the nice interactional space. So you're still a little bit involved in it, but you're outside of the conversation. If you take fourth position, you're really outside of the whole. You can see the whole system, so you can also see where is the conversation between those two taking place, what other elements are there. So you really take in the systems view, which is most of the times the space I look into because I work a lot with family systems. So the idea is that we do a little bit of a check-in. I would like to introduce you to a situation that you might have experienced with somebody else, and you experienced maybe a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a stress. It doesn't have to be from 0 to 10, a maximum of 10. It can be, like medium. It doesn't have to be major. And so that we can look at the different positions and see how clean are they and what can we do in order to clean those different spaces. Does that sound like an interesting thing to do? It's almost like a little check-in for yourself. Do I really have a clear third position to be really able to look at the whole interaction that happens between those? So what we're going to do is, just to give you a little idea, is I pick a situation where I was in an interaction with somebody else that I experienced as maybe unhelpful or a little bit stressful, in the sense of how I responded in the situation. So what you want to do then is you look into your own first position. What happened there? How did I feel? What did I notice? What was my thinking process from your first position? Then you step into the second. You take the second step to what was the other person's position. And you really try to feel yourself into their feet, into their space. And then we go into the third position. So just to lay out the spaces first. And then the second step would then be, I will ask you to go back into we start with the third position, go back there, and then I help with some questions to see, is that a clean third position? Or is there something we could coach you, we could help you to make sure we clean that third position a little bit better? So it really becomes a third position. Sounds interesting? Okay, so is there anybody who would like to volunteer to do the little experiment? Because I need help.
I have one that happens to me the other night, so I could.
Okay, would you be interested?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Okay, sure. I'm here to my mobile office space. Rhea?
Right.
Ray. Great. Okay. I'm Eva, nice to meet you. Just jumped in. So, well, thank you for helping me because I can't do it by myself. So you said that you had experienced a situation last night?
No, it was about 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago?
Yeah, the friend I'm staying with while I'm down here made a comment that made me go, and I can feel it now. Something about the first position.
Okay.
That it kind of made me
Okay.
wasn't happy what you said to me.
So Ray, I just want to point out that this is not a format. This is not a model where we change anything. This is only about exploring and looking at it from different perspectives and really making sure that you have all 3 perspectives and clean the spaces. So it's nothing that we're going to change. There's nothing we're going to do about it. It's actually more opening and creating more awareness around the situation. So just so that you're not disappointed about what we're going to do. All right. So can you lay out maybe what could be a good first position for you, a second position, third position, just so that we have
Well, I would say my
different
first
space?
position would be here, because if I was in the place I was at the time,
Okay.
the other individual sat in a chair opposite me. So
Okay.
that would be second position. And then third position, anywhere looking at the 2 chairs.
Maybe could we play it out here so that just
Yeah,
for
that's fine. Yeah.
for the group so that they can see. Okay, great. So let's just for the experiment, just for exploration, if you like, you can just already start stepping into your first position, which you were already in a little bit as we spoke over here, right?
Okay, yeah.
So as you step here, maybe you can just, give a little brief introduction about what the context is about.
Okay, most of the group already know that I'm originally planning on Mount Kilimanjaro at the moment, and I've been doing some work on that while I've been down here. And the friend who I was staying with, we were talking about after one of the fundraisers, and I made a comment that I was quite tired that night, probably wouldn't go for my run in the morning, which is part of my training, and he was really quite, well, if you're not actually serious about it, and made me, just because I was having a day, it made me a bit like, hold on, I'm tired, it's one day, it's not really, and it made me, you can see my response.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's the context.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were at the table sitting
We were
together.
sitting opposite each other in chairs in his room.
Okay. So that's where you are right now.
That's where I am now. I'm sat here, he's sat in his chair there.
Okay. So it's there and you're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And what do you feel in your body?
Quite tight, quite
You
tense,
feel
quite defensive.
tight.
So I kind of feel tightness, feels quite hardness here, quite intense space and closed in, like I'm kind of in a little ball almost.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, I'd say that, tightness is the main thing I'm feeling. Tightness.
And where's that?
Here,
Like
right in the
here.
centre here, and probably like a weight on the shoulders as well. It's something like shoulder me.
Okay.
So like tightness, intensity around there, tightness, intensity here. I'd say it probably doesn't have a colour associated with it, so it's clear. So it's more just that feeling of tightness.
And what are you saying here? Is there something you say?
Yeah, I mean, my words back to him was, well, hold on, I read what I said to you, and it was, I think my tone of voice was probably quite sharp, quite quick, spoken, and I think expression was probably clenched up a little bit as well. So I think the whole way that I was feeling was very, kind of closed down.
And you can already hear a little bit that it's already talking about I was there. So she's not exactly associated in the first position now here.
Okay.
So did you already hear that? So they're different, it's talking about,
Was.
it was. So it's not happening right now. So there's already some distortion in terms of how you experience that here. Okay. But you do feel that feeling
I can feel
of
it right now.
tightness.
Right now I'm feeling the tightness and I feel the
Okay.
and yeah, I can feel it like I am really.
Okay. Okay. So let's just leave that now. So we only take in for now just to establish the different perceptual positions, and then we start to work with that a little bit more. So maybe you can just shake it up. Shake something up. I do the wiggly dance. I do the wiggly dance usually. That's right. Okay. So when you feel ready, you can step into the second position.
So I'm on the other chair.
You're on the other chair.
Okay.
Exactly. And who's that?
This is my friend Roy.
So you become
I become Roy.
Roy.
Mm-hmm.
So as you take time to step into Roy's shoes and become him for a moment and see Ray over there in that situation, in that context. As Roy, what do you notice happening for you?
More of a calmness, more of an assuredness. I'm sort of feeling more relaxed.
Feeling relaxed. Assured.
Spatial.
Spatial.
More space around me.
Uh-huh.
More comfortable kind of a feeling.
Comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying?
What am I saying?
Mm-hmm. What are there some words that come?
Yeah, the words would just, you've got to, take things seriously, and I haven't seen you exercise, yesterday, and now you're not tomorrow, and you need to
Take
put
things
this in.
seriously.
Yeah, and put the effort in, as well as the fundraising, the exercise. You need to be there if you're going to do this, and what happens if you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I'm sort of feeling, I feel taller right now. So I feel taller.
Mm-hmm. So here she makes a comparison. So she's a little bit over here, as you can hear, and she's a little bit over here. In comparison to here, I feel taller here. So you can already hear a little bit of the mashing. Okay. So you feel taller here.
Here.
Roy's taller.
Yeah. Comfortable.
Comfortable?
And bigger, just like more space around me.
I am bigger.
Yeah, I'm bigger.
That's a statement here. I am bigger here. Mm-hmm. Okay. And are there any thoughts that come about yourself, about right over here?
Thoughts feeling kind of quite calm actually,
Calm.
and not feeling anything other than trying to help.
Calm feeling. I want to help.
Yeah. Not feeling bad in any way. Feel quite just relaxed and
Okay.
in control.
Great. So let's leave that for now. Just step out and shake it out, wiggle it up. That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay. So if you take a third position,
Okay.
like kind of a middle position where you can see both of them.
Yeah.
In that situation a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So from this perspective, where you can see both.
I
of
can
them.
see both, and I feel I'm stood in the living room watching both. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Maybe similar to a video camera, something that's observing and noticing, seeing different body postures. What do you notice here from
So
that
what
outside?
I'm noticing would be that Ray is sat
Ray?
on the kind of edge of the chair, whereas Roy is more relaxed.
Okay, so she's over there a little bit on the edge of the chair.
Yeah, and she's more relaxed, and Ray definitely looks more tight the way that she sat, kind of on the edge. Whereas Roy kind of looks quite calm in his space, in control of his space. And I'd say watching it from the outside and hearing the words that they're saying. So it was definitely defensiveness here, and probably not so much here.
So there's a little bit defensiveness here, not that much here.
Yeah. think that watching the action here is definitely harder and that's softer.
Okay, so it's harder here, softer over there. Okay, so we took a little bit of inventory, and so let's just look at the structure from the outside here. So let's now we just took a little bit inventory. When you look from here, do you notice, is there anybody who's closer to you or and
Roy would be closer to me.
Closer to you, and she already, you can probably have seen that with her gestures, pointed out her over here. So that means he is a little bit closer from this perspective. Can you make an adjustment in terms of the distance to put them into the same distance?
Yes. So now I've got Roy there and Ray there.
Okay, so that they're kind of,
And I'm sort of stood between the two, yeah.
okay, so that you really have a balanced position right in the middle and you can see both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
If you look at the picture of them, do they have the same size? Is one
No.
bigger, smaller?
Roy is definitely taller and bigger, and Ray is shorter.
In terms of
Physical
physical size,
physical,
or just
both.
the image that you
No,
see?
in terms of physical size.
Okay, good. But if you look at the picture, how you
Yeah.
represent it, would that be the same size of picture? Same distance?
Same distance
Same
and everything, yeah.
distance, so.
But in terms of actual physical characteristics.
Can you also check out if this is, if they're represented in real size?
Yeah,
Okay,
they are.
okay. So they're not smaller or enhanced or something like, so they're.
No, I can almost picture the chairs there and there.
Okay, okay, great. How about colors?
Lots of browns.
Mm-hmm. That's what the situation
Yeah.
was? There was,
Yeah.
okay.
The chairs are brown, the carpet's brown, so it's browns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
And what do you feel inside of you? Is there more of a neutral feeling from
No.
here when you look at
Oh, yeah.
this
yeah,
position?
right now it feels neutral. It feels like I'm just watching a TV screen.
Okay,
Or
you
I'm in
just
a play and I'm watching other
watching.
characters. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you feel the same distance. It's
Yeah.
you see all the colors, and it's kind of like a TV screen play
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. And how do you know? How do you notice that there's a neutral feeling in your body?
I've kind of lost any kind of real emotion attached to either.
Okay.
I just feel like I'm watching two other people.
And
So
you.
before when I stood there or there, I could
Mhm.
feel stuff. Now I'm not feeling anything real
Mhm.
here or around me. I just feel like I'm an onlooker.
Okay. And you can actually see it. Her hands kind of show that it's balanced here. It's the same distance and shows like that. Okay. All right. Is there maybe just take in whatever information, whatever you notice from this outside perspective that gives you just interesting insights. Whatever you notice from here, like, oh, that's good to know. That's really interesting.
So what I'm seeing is that probably Ray is more defensive than she needs to be to what Roy is saying, because he's not antagonistic in any way. I think he's just being helpful, and Ray is probably taking it quite defensively. There's some truth and she's seen some truths and not liking it being so. Yeah.
And you can also hear the way she's stating it, it's really from the outside. It's her over here and it's him over here, and just kind of observing what's going on. Okay, great. So let's just go back into first position of
Okay.
Ray.
Okay.
And just really allow yourself to just really step back into you in that time, in that space, in that, wherever you are with Brown.
Okay.
And notice what you're feeling, and
It doesn't feel as tight. I expected it to because I am picturing myself in it, but I don't feel the tightness as much. That's not as much. It's a little bit on the shoulders, but not so much.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
And stuff.
Can you see
Roy.
Roy over there?
Yeah.
you see him interacting?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you see his full body
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah. Just
And
sat there.
hear, can you hear what he says?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you feel and hear and sense what you're saying and maybe saying to yourself?
Yeah, it's difficult to say to myself now what I was saying to myself then, having done that. I have to say that's trickier. That's made it harder
Mm-hmm.
because I'm now seeing some of that and I'm trying. I can't quite dissociate from that yet.
Oh,
So-
okay. So that's important. So just leave whatever
Okay.
needs to be,
There. Shake it up. Did it shake it up?
bring it to, right,
Okay.
whatever needs
Okay.
to be taken, to be kept in the meta position,
Okay.
observer position, just leave that here. And it's just to explore
Mhm.
a clean first position.
Okay. Yeah, because I was taking some of this
Right.
with me to there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's really good to know, so that you really have the permission to completely become yourself. So whatever needs to be here, just leave that here and tap into your own shoes. Go into your first position.
Yeah.
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 Who are you here?
I'm right.
Okay.
I'm me.
You're me.
Yeah.
You're yourself,
I'm
and
myself. I'm in the room.
and what time is it?
It's about 12 o'clock.
12.
So just after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Tired.
You feel tired here. Your body feels
Yeah.
tired.
It's been a long day.
A long day. That's good to know.
And a lot kind of going on, and lots of stress with things, and enjoying myself at the same time, but stress and lots on my mind.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot on your mind. Your body feels tired. Your
Yeah.
body feels stressed.
Yeah. And I
And
feel
all that.
tight again now.
And you feel that tightness.
Yeah. Particularly here.
Okay. Okay. So there's a long day. There's a lot going on. A lot of fun things, but also a lot of stuff on your shoulders. And as that happens in your body, you have that conversation with that friend over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he says something.
Yeah.
And,
Tense up again, more defensive. Yeah.
and that's good to know. How far is he away?
Not too far, sort of there.
Just there.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Can you see him over there in like real size?
In real size.
In real
There's
size.
the chair that's inside in it. Yeah.
Okay. Is it a colorful picture? Is it black or white?
It's black, white, and brown. So kind of still got the shades of brown in it, but
Okay.
it's not colourful no.
Okay. But real
Real.
colors
Real
as they
colours
are
as
in
they
that
are.
situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And just take that inventory, however you feel here in this moment, in this time, having that conversation with this friend over here, and just allow yourself to be you
Yeah.
with, all the tiredness and everything that's there. And just notice that. Just take that without wanting to change it. Just to be with that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just leave that here for now, because this happened a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and that's good to know. So we can leave that here, and we make a really good step out.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just take it out. And we would like to end with that established meta position. Actually, I want to do one more thing before.
Okay.
Okay, let's step one more time
Back
there
into-
to
back
your
into-
first position.
Okay.
Because that was a position really in your shoes.
Yeah.
Where you really feel in your own skin, right? Where you really felt what you feel in that moment. And when you are associated in that place, in you, in that particular moment, whatever happens here, and when you're there, allow your unconscious mind to help you to keep this clean I, me space, just to notice when you're in your own shoes. So that your unconscious mind keeps that clean space. whatever happens then, whatever happens here. Just so it knows this is, in that moment it can change any second later it can change, but in that moment it's like that, and that's in your own shoes. Okay. So let's step out and shake it off. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
do that. Take one more time the step into the third position,
Okay. So this kind of
so that you really, you have the neutral position.
yeah. There and there.
Rise over here, raise over here, and they are kind of from the same distance. You can see them both at the same time, the same distance to them. You can also hear both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Whatever they say, you can also see the body postures of both of them,
Yeah.
right? And you also notice I'm outside.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of observing, I'm noticing, it's a video that I'm watching or like a TV play.
Yeah.
And just know that, and maybe you can ask your unconscious mind to take this in as a knowledge of this is a clean third position. And I'm outside, noticing, having the overview, and detached. Just to help you to access.
It's like I'm in a cafe watching two people talking to each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. That's a
Yeah.
really good third position.
Yeah.
So-
There's two strangers there, yeah.
They're like two
Yeah.
strangers there, and there's a lot of things that you can notice from the outside that might be helpful. Maybe as a supervisor for her over there. Right?
Yeah.
And just allow yourself that your unconscious mind can remember this is a good clean third position, and maybe you want to get back to a good third position another time.
Yeah.
So that you know that. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks. And is there, just to share real briefly, is there anything from that perspective, from noticing there are 3 different perspectives, there are different elements involved in it, is there anything that comes to your mind now that is helpful for you?
I think, just having an overview of the situation, if I'd walked into that room on that night and seen 2 people having that conversation, what I would have made about them, they've been out too late and they're tired and go to bed.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay, great.
It would have just been like totally different and
Awesome.
sensation
Awesome.
and understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great insight. To know she over there was really tired. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe just get some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So, are we still going to do the exercise before the break?
After.
Maybe, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what we did was we didn't change anything. All we did was take an inventory and making sure that we understand what it's like to be in my first position shoes. And you could probably notice that the second round, as we cleaned the space, there was tiredness there, which was a key element. It was important to know, I'm just freaking tired. Maybe it's good not to have a conversation at this point, right? And it was also noticeable as she had a really nice, clean third position that there are other ideas, other insights that come to your mind. Before it was a little bit, I'm stepping here, I'm here. I'm a little bit in both shoes. Did you notice that? So all we do is just to have a really good idea, what is it like to be really, truly in my own shoes? This was an uncomfortable situation. It can also be a very comfortable situation. All we want to make sure, probably you have a question, why is she asking the unconscious mind to keep that as an inventory and understand this is a clean first position? It's just about the structure. This is just, keep in mind this is first position. Because if you want to have something really enjoyable, you also want to be in your first position. You really want to experience it and not be in, one toe in a different position. So this is not about, keep the uncomfortable feeling. This is much more about, understand the structure, what it's like to be in a first position.
It's actually quite interesting when you told me to do that, just to open up to my, I actually felt more comfortable as well. It just felt like, yeah, okay, that's all right, just be you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting shift from when I'd first stood in, having done the third party, and I said to you, it feels like I've brought it with me.
Yes.
Then I could, when you said just tap into your unconscious mind, I really did feel that shift and did feel more like, okay, yeah.
Awesome. Because maybe that was a little bit puzzling from the outside perspective. Why the hell is she asking her to take in this and remember this uncomfortable feeling? It's not about the situation itself. It's much more about the structure of the position, and that the knowledge about what does it feel like when I'm truly in my own shoes. That's why I asked her unconscious mind to take the inventory. So just to do this little, or maybe we do that after the break. I go over the steps so that you have a clean idea about what are the different steps. I will do a little micro demonstration, and then you have a chance to do it yourself.
Just one question.
Please.
When Ray was in third,
Yes.
the distances weren't the same, and then you got it to change to the same. Was that a submodality change?
Yes, that was a submodality change. She actually showed it with her hands, and it was quite interesting that it was easy for you to make the physical adjustment. I think that was really key for you, so it was...
and again, it did feel different.
It did feel
different.
different.
I did feel maybe I was being more
Yes.
empathetic towards the second position.
Yes.
And then when I stood completely neutral between the two,
Yeah.
I did actually feel neutral.
Right.
It was quite a shift, but I
Right.
did feel it.
Right. Yeah. So it's really the linkage. It's the connection of submodalities and perceptual positions. Because what you find is when you are in an enmeshed position. Let's say you're in your first position, but you're also tapping a little bit into the second position. Then you have different submodalities. So, for instance, in the third position, I can see both of them at the same time. They have the same exact position. If one picture is bigger and one is smaller, then that one is where there's more connection to. Whatever is bigger, I'm much more emotionally connected to. So I don't have a neutral position. So when we bring that to an equal distance, an equal size, a realistic size, then that really allows me to have this more neutral position. It's just a helping way to be clear about being third position, for instance. Yeah. So it's those key elements of submodalities that help to bring that forth. Do you want me to go briefly over just for the steps so that you know the steps? Okay. So this is, it's not a change process. It's not, and generally speaking of a process, it's much more about getting ideas how we can upgrade and clean our perceptual positions so that we're making really sure I am truly in my own shoes when I'm speaking from first position. Because a lot of times we don't even know that we may be taking on a position of somebody else. We might be so used to be in a second position. Maybe our job is requiring that a lot. Or maybe our family system was asking us a lot to put ourselves in the shoes of another person. I know that space really well. I don't know if anybody else of you know. Depending on the family system, sometimes this is maybe a way of trying to understand things that are not being spoken out, not being shared. So what you do is you try to crawl into somebody else's body to fit what that feels like and what they're thinking, to try to make sense. That's what children do all the time. So there might be a tendency that I feel really comfortable in a second position. There might be a tendency that I feel really comfortable from a distance, far away, detached from my feelings, observing. We will go back to that when we think about the stances that Virginia Satir noticed, and so we will play with that a little bit, and maybe you recognize some similarities there too. So this exercise really is about taking on physically, this is my first position and this is how I am experiencing a certain situation in my own skin, in my own shoes. This is how I feel, this is how I breathe, this is what my body posture is like, this is what I'm thinking. Only me. And then there's another position, which is the other person. And we all have the ability to crawl into somebody else's shoes and somebody else's skin. That's an amazing capability that we all have. We're the only species that has the ability to really truly crawl into somebody else's skin. I think that's pretty amazing. That's very astonishing for me. And we also have the ability to look from the outside and reflect and really take out and observe and notice and reflect and trying to make sense and gather information so that we can feed back and get all the important informations to use that as a learning loop from ourselves. So these are all strengths that we have as a human species, and it's nice to really make use of it. So this is the exercise. You take in a situation where you were involved with somebody else, and it can be a situation where you feel, I didn't like how I was feeling there, I didn't like how I was reacting in that particular situation. Can be a conversation with somebody, whatever that is. So you take that situation and you go first just to explore those three spaces. So you lay out first position, then you lay out the second position, and then you lay out the third position. So I explore, this was the context, this was the situation, and this is what I was feeling, this was what I was thinking, this is how I saw the other person. So every information that you can take in from the first position, in your own shoes, whatever is available at this moment. Then you shake it off, and then you look at it from the second position. I put myself in the shoes of the other person, and maybe I remember how the person was standing, sitting, or whatever, so I go physically into the space, and I'm looking from this perspective. And I just take on all the information that's there available right now. Then I shake this off, and then I go into the third position, as we did it before. So I'm reflecting, I'm just looking from the outside. And as a coach, when you're helping your coachee to explore those different steps, you kind of notice, you listen carefully to the language. When they're in the first position, are they talking about, I am feeling this way, I see such and such over there doing such and such? Is that I language? Also in this position, second position, you also want to listen for I language. I'm feeling about the other person over there this way. So this is also I language. If you're in the third position, you're listening for those two over here from my observer perspective. So this is detached, this is further away. So as the coach, when you go the first round and establish those different places, listen for the language and look at, especially for the gestures. I think it was nice to see that Ray was pointing out when she was gesturing with her hands, it was easy to see that one position was closer to her. Herself, she saw herself much further away. And so in the second round, we're looking at all these elements just to make adjustments through the submodalities. Bring it so that the images are the same distance. Bring it so that the sizes are the same. Realistic sizes. Here we're looking for realistic sizes. If it's only black and white, look at that there are the colors that you would have in a realistic picture. So adjust all the submodalities so that they become realistic. That's basically what you do. And So the way I did it was cleaning the positions was I started with a meta position. Because I did sense that that's one that you feel really comfortable about. You know how to look from the outside, and so it was easy to clean that position. And from there we went into the second position to clean that one. To the first position. That was a little bit more tricky, to really feel I'm in my own shoes. That's where the feeling of I'm tired came in. And that was important, to really feel the heaviness and the tiredness, and to really crawl into our own skin. That true? That seems to be a little bit more challenging for you? It's easier for you to go second position and also third position. Those are very familiar to her. I could notice that from the little journey that we did. Usually we have some that are more familiar, so we want to activate the one that's not as familiar for us. And that brings more insights and just clean them.